Hello, this is Pauper to the People. I'm Nate, and with me is Peter,
Hello.
Chris,
Hi.
and our special guest, Mr. Dan.
Hej allihop!
Today we have a little bit on the list here. We have some articles, but more importantly, we have the Pauper Gauntlet, and we're gonna let Dan talk about that in just a little bit. We just have some news to go over. I don't know if some articles on MTGO Strat. David Schaffer has his Thoughtcast Past and Future, which is a really good article. Talks about the banning of temporal fissure and possibly where we're going from here. So it's a pretty interesting article. And then we had Greystone article called "A Commune with the Gods" about hexproof auras. And that article talks about the card "Commune with the Gods" from the new set, with as an added card into the auras deck, which I know he's right on this because I read the whole article, but I'm really hoping people don't catch on. Because this card is completely gross with this deck.
Yeah, it slows it down, and I don't know that auras can afford to be slower.
Yeah, it slows it down a little bit, but being able to go deeper in the library, and being able just to get whatever the heck you want to really get in there is annoying.
Yeah.
It'll be used in standard Pauper easily, but I don't know if it fits in the classic list.
But yeah, it's one of those things that it's worth trying out, even if it turns out to be not good. I mean, today, for instance, I was when I was donating plasma, I had a chance to get online on MTGO, and I played this kid who took the Rebels list and took the post out and went with the Urza's lands, and I have to say it works. It's not bad. I mean, the list works with Urza's.
I believe you, but didn't you donate plasma last week too?
I do it twice a week.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah, twice a week.
Okay, I thought it was like blood, where you can only do it once every 6 weeks, and you were like killing yourself with plasma.
No,
donation?
you can go twice a week, and it's like right this month is $20 the first visit and $40 the next visit. So
what? I need to do that.
it's like $60 a week for me right now, and it's all spending money for me. It's awesome.
I'm gonna have to start donating plasma.
But yeah, but no, I got a chance to play a kid that was using the Urzas in the Rebel list, and let me tell you, it's freaking annoying because he can instant drop the Bound in Silence.
Yeah.
It's a little bit annoying when you're like, bam, getting ready to attack, and you're all set up to go, and then they bound your Killing Fiend or your Nivix Cyclops.
Yeah, bounded silence.
The
That's
one
what really
game,
makes the Rebel deck work now.
yeah. And the one game that I went 2-1 against him. The one game I did win, I did get all my Kiln Fiends successfully bounded. The only reason why I won is because I was drawing burn spells.
Wow.
I had to really stretch the burn spells out, and to get there, it was ridiculous.
Don't you play Fling in the sideboard?
I didn't. On game 2, I took out 2 cards and added the Mizium skins to try to give my guys hexproof till end of turn.
Oh, that works too, I guess.
But I didn't draw them, so I had to stretch it out with burn spells just to get the last 10 damage in. It sucked. I'm like, come on, burn spell.
Nice.
But yeah, it was cool. I got a chance to chat with that guy the whole time he was playing, and we were just kind of talking about the banning of post and all that and stuff. So it wasn't like the guy I was playing was a complete douche or anything. We were just talking and BSing the whole time we're playing. He's pretty cool.
So maybe any monocolor post deck works with the Tron lands.
Nah, I still agree. I'm still gonna have to defer to Peter and agree with him that when it comes to the control list, having Glimmer Post and being able to gain life and get yourself out of death like over and over again is still better.
Yeah, but
But
the monocolored post decks were not very much.
no, the
controlling.
monocolors, yeah, the monocolor decks I think could survive because you can still add enough of the basic lands in there and has to because you're still using the map to get
Hey,
your stuff.
that means that you could play the old mono blue control post maybe. Oh, then maybe you need Glimmer post.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I suppose you could maybe. See, now you say this, and now I'm gonna go to work tonight when I have all this free time, and now I'm gonna start messing with this crap. Damn it!
Yeah.
Give me something else to do.
You had nothing better to do anyways, Nate. Stop complaining.
Yeah, I know. It is true. That is a good point. That actually might. Wow.
Remember
Whoa.
the Blight Widow infect decks too.
Oh
I
yeah.
just gained a level. But anyway, that article is out there. The Commune with Gods. Check it out. Good, both great articles, and I think I have been the last few weeks been throwing these articles out there because just highlighting these articles because they're good articles for anyone who plays Pauper online to read. So just like giving a little bit of highlight out, or I like pointing them out that they're there and they're available for anyone to read. So they're good. And then in other news, we have Wizards team. The Wizards teams lost the cup 233 to 201. So the community has it back. So
Nice.
good for the community. They weren't gonna let Wizards hold it for that long. But that's cool. There's an article on that on the Magic website there. But other than that, that's all I really have for news. We'll start with Dan. What you been playing lately?
I actually could not let Flickergate die, so I played the PDC Magic PRE last night, and I
Yeah.
finally won some games. But I ended up in 5th place, and it was a top 4 playoff, so even though I actually managed to win with it, I didn't make top 4. So, and then I've been playing the Gauntlet, pretty much.
Yeah. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, Chris?
Well, decided to stop playing Pauper daily events until Fissure, becomes a thing. But I've been testing with a lot of grindy control decks: Azorius Kitty, Blue Black Trinket, Mono Black Control, Mono Blue Control. Went to the Theros pre-release. It was a good time.
How'd that go for you?
It went pretty awful. My rares were about the only playable cards I got in my whole pool.
Wow.
Ouch.
Yeah, I've been hearing that the sealed pool is hard.
It's really hard, man. I looked at it and I had about I chose blue and I had like 15 playable blue cards and they weren't even really that good. I didn't have any flyers or any bounce spells. So I was relying
Damn.
on the monstrosity dudes and the Triton, the
Wave crash, dude.
yeah, the 1/4 that taps down their dudes
Yeah.
per turn. Yeah, I was relying on that and some Triton tactics to get me through. And then, like, looking at my other colors, I had about 3 playable cards from each other color.
Yeah.
So it was like I can go with green and get some solid creatures, or I can go with red and get a couple lightning strikes, or I can go with black and get, like, the Death Touch bestow guy, and, a couple of, like, decent removals, like the 6-drop removal spell and Viper's Kiss, or I can go with white and get a couple of weenies with heroic. But it basically what it came down to is just like there was nothing. I had like 18 playable cards, and I sort of squeezed a blue-green deck, and I went 2/2 drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like actually the first pre-release I've been to in a year and a half where I didn't win packs.
Wow.
Yeah, which is awesome.
That's crazy.
Then I've been doing some M14 drafts online. Doing pretty solid in those. My limited rating is now up to, let's see here. Where am I at? Information. I'm up to 1782 limited rating.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So,
M14 is a fun set to draft.
Yeah, that's all from M14 too. I totally tanked at the end of RTR block draft. My rating was down to like 1650 or something like that, and
Yeah.
M14 is really good to me though.
Oh yeah. I've drafted M14 like 3 times, and I think every single one of my drafts turned out really good. Like every single one of them, every single one of them, I either ended up 2-2 or higher. I think all of them just pretty easy. You get your first 5 cards, and you pretty much know what direction you're going.
Yeah,
So
I've had the most success with actually red white aggro.
Yeah.
It's usually like got a sliver sub theme with a couple of battle slivers and sentinel slivers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's probably the deck I've had the most success with. It's just straight up red white aggro.
I've actually used Rakdos. Rakdos has been pretty good for me.
Every time I try to draft that, it just fails. Like, I always try to draft the black-red sacrifice deck, and it always ends up like this. I always end up with 1 active treason and 1,000,000 sacrifice effects, or 3 active treasons and 1 sacrifice effect.
Yeah, it comes down for me. It was the Academy Raider or whatever.
I still hate that guy.
It works though.
Oh.
It works with that deck though.
It's so awful to play a 1/1 for 3 in red.
Yeah, but having crap in your hand and being able to discard and draw a card when he hits is actually what wins it.
Yeah.
Really puts it over the top. So
That's it.
But yep. Peter, what have you been doing?
I don't know, a little EDH here and there, and then a lot of Momir Vig.
Morphic. What are you playing? Oh, are you playing that online?
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's a wonky and fun little thing, but sometimes it is the most frustrating thing in the world.
Yeah.
Nothing like getting, Phage, and just going, well, that was fun, kids.
Phage and lose. That sucks.
It happens, but wow, it's fun. And in a form like that, you start looking at cards you've never looked before and going like, this could be useful. This is good. I like this.
That's cool.
But, yeah, fun to explore a little bit of different format.
What have I been doing? We just started I work at the Sauk Rapids Middle School here in St. Cloud area, and we just started our our gaming club for the year, which I have lots of Magic players in, and wanted to get the kids at the school a card shop experience in the school. So I really put it out there on Facebook for anyone that had a whole bunch of bulk rares and uncommons that they didn't want. Commons, uncommons, just bulk, didn't want them, just donate them, because I came up with a method of payment so the kids could actually get new cards without paying anything. I basically they trade card for card, and I figured out a way of doing it to get it all up. And I had a big donation come in from one of my past coworkers from the dugout. He donated like 4 3-row boxes of Magic cards.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of cards. So I've been going through sorting those, getting the trade book out, working up a trade book for the kids, and basically got hammered through sorting all of that out in a short amount of time because I had some friends help me out. Been playing EDH, been playing a lot online. That's about it. Just had my kid's birthday party was this weekend, so I was busy all weekend with the birthday party, and then on the second day it was all hey, let's take out the toys and get all that taken care of. So, but yeah, that's all I've really been up to.
Hey.
But yeah.
So another little minor announcement. I talked about the Battle for Charity a while back.
Yeah.
They've collected $1,000, over $1,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
I know the last big push was from a streamer on Twitch called Soulbush1.
Yeah.
It's a pretty popular streamer, and I know he collected like over $500 today in donations.
Oh
So,
wow, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so
And the goal was 500, right?
yeah, the original goal
For
was
the whole
500, and they collected that within the first 2 weeks, I think, and then, and then they still had Soulbush One's thing to go, and he collected another like 500. So that was pretty
Nice.
awesome.
That's cool.
So big shout out to Jason Siri for organizing the Battle for Charity and making it all happen, especially with collecting this much money. It was pretty awesome.
That's good. Well, thanks to him. That's a lot of good work for a good cause.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. But shall we get into it, boys?
What?
Pauper Gauntlet.
All right.
Ready? No?
Yeah.
Yes? All right. Take it away, Dan. Pauper Gauntlet. How's it going?
Okay, first a brief description of what I'm doing. I want to try to glorify it so people don't realize that I'm just sitting there playing Magic by myself in the practice room and talking about it. So I made a call for decks in July. We ended up with 47 decks that went into a race in the tournament practice room. So every round they would play, and if they lost, they would be eliminated. After round 2, one eliminated deck was voted back, and that was Icy Hot Hottie. JPH Snake's elemental combo deck. So it's evoking a lot of elementals such as Muldrifter and Mournwelk, and then Undying Evil or flickering them, so to create quite big effects. That deck returned. I played round 3, and now I had 11 decks left after round 3. But the bannings happened, so we had to decide what to do. With Simic Stormpost, which was one of the 11 decks, then which included the full set of posts and 3 Temporal Fissures. And we had a lot of ideas about this, and we made an article on MTGOstrat. Finally, we decided to have a vote, and people voted for Simic Stormpost to die. So it was disqualified.
It was voted down.
Yes, people were like, die, Fisher, die. So it died. So there are now 10 decks in the Gauntlet. We won't try to replace it with something else. David Chaffer refused to try to build a gimped version, and it felt unfair to bring any other deck in at this point. Finally, all 10 decks that are left are claimed by someone. I ran a competition for 4 Steam wins, and some decks were claimed very late, just a few days ago. But all the 10 decks now have a champion, and that champion will get 4 Steam wins if that deck wins.
Nice.
So, any questions so far?
Nope.
What are the decks that are left?
Yeah, what are the decks?
Yeah, I'll go through the list. The first deck is 5 color green. It's a really strange deck. A reality acid control deck, sort of the grandfather of Azorius Kitty, created by Shift4, 2012. It has 14 forests and 5 colors. And it's just a blast to play if you get the lands. It's so strange. And it has actually managed to win every round. So it's still in the competition, using Reality Acid and Parallax Dementia to destroy everything.
Ick.
Yeah, and the sideboard has 11 land destruction spells.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I am allowing the Brewers to update their decks for the bannings now. I think round 6 at least will be played after the bannings have gone into effect on October the 2nd. But this, I have no contact with Shift4, so he can't update this deck, so that's a disadvantage for 5 color green. Second deck is Icy Hot Hottie, as I mentioned. By far the most popular deck in the Gauntlet. It was voted back, and as soon as you mention this in a video, the views go through the roof. I don't know why people are so fond of this, but it really appeals. It even kicked out Flying Dinosaurs in the vote back.
Wow.
Yeah. The third deck is Illusory Tricks. This is a mono blue tempo deck that is not Delver.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's an illusions deck with the Krovikan Mist.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that deck. Didn't who was it? What guest was it we had on? We had someone a while back talk about that deck when he was on the show. Can't remember off the top of my head. Which
It's
who?
sort of like playing Delver in an alternate reality.
Yeah,
Quite interesting.
yeah.
But it's winning, and that was one of the decks I hadn't played at all before the Gauntlet, so I didn't have much hope for it, but it's doing alright. Deck number 4 is Mono Blue Control, and I'm using a list by DD Fan that I found in a 4.0 daily. So it's just ton of counterspells. You had a bit of opinions on this deck, right, Chris?
Yeah, I didn't particularly like this list. I like the cantrip version much better. The one with preordains and ponders. Vice. This list runs like think twices and stuff that are that's where the card advantage comes from. But I like the cantrip version a lot better, personally.
One thing I've learned through the Gauntlet, I now played 97 matches, I think.
Wow.
And it really helps if I like a deck. And this is a list I like. This is the way I want to play Mono Blue Control, and I think that helps the deck a lot because it sort of thinks the way I think.
Yeah.
And some decks were just so incredibly hard to figure out what they wanted to do, pretty much. So some decks were eliminated by me playing them really badly, and some have gone far by appealing to me. Deck number 5 is this really strange deck you've probably never heard of. It uses like forests and little green creatures such as Nettle Sentinel and Skargan Pit Skulk, and you have like 17 growth spells, and you put Rancor on them and you attack. It's the most amazing thing. I've named it Stompy. It's just crushing everything.
Not surprising. That's what Stompy does.
Yeah, Stompy's just a solid deck.
It's one of the decks that haven't lost a duel yet.
Yeah.
I shared the Mono Blue Control list that I like.
Deck number 6. It's a deck not managed as far any goblins, and the goblins videos have become notorious because I miss stuff all the time, but it still wins. So the guy who created the deck is like crying, Dan, you have to think about these things. We talked about this, and I'm like, I bolt them, and somehow I win.
Yeah, you keep doing that with Mono Blue Control too. I comment on your videos. Just about every one of your Mono Blue Control videos, you miss a Piracy Charm kill. And I'm like, Dan, we talked about this.
They're just like goblins.
We talked about this. You can kill people with Piracy Charm.
I think I might be able to do that next time, actually. I will hit myself several times in the head before playing, and then I will remember it. I lost track of how many decks. This was 6 decks. The 7th deck is Blue-Black Trinket Control, which surprisingly works for me.
That's interesting.
Wow,
I always like the Trinket Control deck, though. That deck's fun.
I don't understand how that deck would work for you, Dan.
I think I played a lot of different Pauper decks, but I probably played as many matches with Trinket as about 680 at this point.
Wow.
It's probably what I played with all other decks combined. So I know that deck, but I'm still making mistakes. I got for the last video, somebody pointed out the mistake, and I was like, no, not after 680 matches. But there it was. I like to talk about the next deck because it's a combo deck, and it's a combo deck that contains no banned cards.
That's always a good thing.
It's named Love Train by its creator JPH Snake, and one of my principles is to let the brewer name the deck and then go with that name. This has created a lot of stupid jokes on my part when I play the deck, but basically it's a freed from the real Axebane Guardian combo deck that has a lot of redundancy, so that it can survive until it can get the combo online. And his testing shows amazing results with this deck, so it looks to be viable, at least the tier 3 deck after the bannings have gone into effect. So I think this should be further tested. It's really easy to combo with it. And then you use Viridian Longbow 20 times for the kill.
Jeez.
Jesus.
while the walls and the longbow have kept you alive, so you can get this. If you can't counter this deck, it's very hard to deal with. And I actually played him with Trinket, and he was just, I have to lose to something. Please play me, and he won.
God.
Jeez.
So I think this might be a sleeper.
Yeah.
It's undefeated in the Gauntlet. Next deck is Delver Fiend.
Yes.
It actually managed to lose one duel. No, it didn't. Okay, it's also undefeated.
Yeah, I like hearing that. It's one of my favorite decks. Not gonna lie. I like Delver Fiend. What list are you using?
You did. And the last deck out of the 10 is Boros Kitty, the red-white Kuldortha Rebirth, Artifact, Bounce, Grind, Midrange, Torture Hell.
It has Perilous Myrrh in it, doesn't it?
No. It
No?
doesn't.
Oh. That is my enemy. That card is my enemy. I hate that card.
It's nothing in there.
Thank God.
It does have Glinthawks and Skyfishers and Wellsprings and all the good things.
Nice.
So those are the 10 decks. What are your predictions for the winner?
I'm putting it behind Delver Fiend because it's my favorite deck. I want to go right there and say that.
My money's on Stompy.
I don't know.
That's a safe.
Dan's not the best Stompy pilot, I still admit.
Oh, so you like my Delver game, but not my Stompy game?
I think you're a better Delver player than you are a Stompy player.
No, I played a lot more with Stompy.
Okay. I think mono blue control.
All right. So what I will do now is to play round 4 and 5, probably before the bannings. And then I will up the pace. And we should have a winner.
Sweet. Watch
I
Delver.
don't know. I haven't done this before, so it might be the case that we go into a lot of rounds because, like, both decks are winning or both decks lose, and I have to replay the round.
Yeah. It's alright.
But I expect to win about 70% now at this point with the best decks left, and yeah, now having some experience with all the decks.
Yeah.
I played a practice round with every deck that is left, and I actually managed to lose with Delver Fiend.
Oh. Okay, you're granted one bad
Psychology.
game.
And the other 8 won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Delver Fiend's going to lose, though, because a lot of people are testing these black-based control decks, and Delver Fiend has a real tough time with black-based control decks.
Oh yeah. Between the discard, just the creature removal, doesn't have enough to spare, and if you get rid of any of the things that they're Mizium skins, then they're just kind of dead on board.
Yeah, and Mizium Skin doesn't necessarily work, too, against verdicts and edicts.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So you played Dispel.
Yeah.
I guess I play it, like I said, Delver Fiend is my favorite deck. It's the one deck that whenever I get sick of playing any other deck and I want to go back and play and win, I use Delver Fiend. And Dispels do it for me, even against the Edict cards. It's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to Dispel.
Yeah.
You just have to wait another turn. The thing is, your matchup with Delver Fiend, if you're going into your Edict decks and all that, instead of trying to go off on turn 4, or trying to go off turn 3, turn 4, you have to sit back and wait for it. You end up forcing yourself to sit back and and wait a few more turns to make sure you have the land so to stop, because you know when you attack, you're going against the edict player, they're going to try edicting you. So you just wait an extra turn or two till you have the mana, and then have that
Yeah. Naturally.
dispel ready. Basically, I do agree with you. Yeah, the edict is hard for that deck, but it's just a matter of playing a little bit smarter and being a little bit more watchful. You know, it's easy enough to play around for me.
Yeah.
So
And then
you just gotta take the deck further than it wants to go.
yeah, and you're also going to run into the Delver players too, and
Yeah.
Delver Fiends. I don't know. I've never lost to a Delver Fiend deck as a Delver player. Not the match anyway. You occasionally drop a game or whatever because they swing through your counter spells, but I don't lose matches to them.
Yeah. It all depends. It's like I said, it's a deck with its flaws, but let me tell you, when it works, it is glorious. I love swinging in for 20 damage in one turn. Makes me feel good.
Yep.
I had this guy. I played. Delruthine has eliminated more decks than any other deck in the gauntlet, and I had someone play Delruthine against me, and I gained 20 life somehow, and he did 40 points of damage.
Holy moly!
So I still died.
It's cool.
It's interesting to see the tournament practice room metagame, which is very different from the daily events metagame.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there will be people still playing the Fisher Post decks in the tournament practice room.
I've seen it.
Because some of these decks are very sensitive to Temporal Fissure.
Yeah, I've seen people playing it in the tournament practice room, but as a general rule, a lot of people just don't play that deck in the tournament practice room. I don't know if it's an unwritten rule that nobody wants to play against that deck, but
they probably have 80% of people quit on them
as
soon as they play the Cloud Post.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm the type of player when I'm in the tournament practice room that I'll go into every match, and if it's something I don't necessarily like playing against, I won't like it, but I'll still give the other player the benefit of a 2 out of 3 match. I mean, that's why you're there. I mean, it's not like you're losing anything in a tournament practice room if you lose anyway. That's why it's called tournament practice.
Yes, I can only agree.
I mean, just do the 2 out of 3. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but with Fissure, if I'm playing against tournament practice room and Fissure comes up, the turn I get fissured, I'm just conceding the game. I wouldn't do that on a daily event, but
well, yeah,
that makes sense.
That makes sense. But I mean, I've seen people, and even with Delver Fiend, I've played Delver Fiend in the practice room where there's some people that don't like the deck, and as soon as I lay that Kiln Fiend, they just concede from the whole match. They don't even want to play.
Yeah,
it's like, just play it out. It's a turn. Who cares?
I got something to say about that too, though. 'Cause sometimes, there are certain people who do that, and I know, just if I'm playing in the tournament practice room enough, I'll recognize the names when they come up against me. There are certain guys who will just concede all the time if they come up against a deck that I don't want, and I'll block them or not start the game if they try to join my games or whatever. So you kind of have to learn who those people are. But a lot of people like me are just, we want to play some Magic, but we're kind of in the middle of making dinner or something like that, or the oven beeped, or the kid crying all of a sudden, or so I will concede matches. It's probably bad mannered, but it's kind of what I'm there for. I need the flexibility of not being tied to a game. So don't get mad at people necessarily for doing that, but if you recognize that somebody's doing that to you every time you play them, then then you can get mad at them. But
well, I understand that. I mean, I've had that a few times where and having kids is just crazy because it can be completely quiet. Everyone's having a fine time playing. They're doing their own thing. You turn MTGO on. You just start the game. You're trying to figure out if you keep it in your hand, and all of a sudden, Dad, can you get me this? Really?
Can you do this?
Really?
Hey, honey, can you peel some potatoes? Hey, honey, can you peel some potatoes for me? Hey, I need you to run to the store and get me some milk.
Are you serious? I just sat down. But yeah, I mean, and I have, like I said, I'm guilty of that too. I have had to leave a concede a match that way, but usually when I have to, I will type to my opponent like, kiddos, like I do something with the kiddos, or I'll explain to them why, let them know, hey, I'm not trying to be a douche. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So it's just a common courtesy thing, I think.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
One more observation from the Gauntlet. People think that combo is dead now, and I think from looking at the decks in the Gauntlet, I can't speak about the viability other than Love Train and Freed from the Real then, but there are two other notable combo decks that have been eliminated that have strong combos. The old Midnight Guard Presence of Gond combo was in a Soul Sistery like deck called Midnight Sisters, where it had Midnight Guard in the sideboard.
Yeah.
So you sideboarded into the combo, but I managed to lose the first match against Affinity with that deck. And then we had Dom's Project X deck, which used Ivy Lane Denizen, Safehold Elite, and the Sack Outlet.
You got that to work at all?
Yes, I won the first round with it and then lost. There are also videos on my YouTube channel with Dom playing the deck, making it work.
Okay, because when I read the Project X article, I was messing around with that deck, and I could always get 2 on board, but the third one I'd always get knocked down.
The thing with Love Train is that it has blue, so it can sort of draw more cards, it can do more things to survive than Project X can. And the Golgari shell itself is so weak.
Yeah, it is.
That you have a hard time surviving.
Yeah.
Well, that's the situation in the Gauntlet.
Okay.
Any thoughts or reflections?
I'm interested to see where it goes with the top 10. You already have the top 10 there. I'm interested to see where it goes. Personally, I'm pushing for Delver Fiend, but,
I'll do my best.
Pushing for Delver Fiend just so I can come back and tell these guys they were wrong.
It's interesting, though, that you have, 4 rogue decks in the top 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of what I wanted by the whole structure, that I figured that some rogue decks would make it through, and they are interesting. One made it through by being voted through, actually. ICO Totti has only won one match in the Gauntlet. But the other decks are also quite rogue, and still are 3-0 in the practice room.
Yeah.
I'll even go as far as say I'll put up 2 tickets that Delver Fiend's going to win.
Ooh. Any takers?
Saucy. I'll take it. 2 tickets, you're on.
Okay.
All right. So what happens if...
I got a 90% chance to win this one. I'm good.
It's just 2 tickets. I don't care.
All right.
That's right.
You should get some odds.
I just drafted a Boros Reckoner 2 hours before the show and won the draft, so I'm good to go too.
I hear that's a good card.
It's a 7-ticket card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Peter?
I'll put 3 on green.
3?
On Stompy?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh. The question is, do I bet against how good Dan is? I think Stompy's probably the best deck in the top 10. But do I bet against Dan's how good Dan is? Sorry, Dan.
You sticking with blue?
I don't know. I think Dan could probably lose to Stompy. I'm down, Peter. You're on.
Good.
All right.
And so if it happens that one of the rogue decks that we didn't call wins, Dan just gets all of this?
I think that's fair. It's just 2 tickets. I don't give a shit.
I think Chris gets it all the way you set it
Yeah,
up.
I say the way I set it up. Regardless of who wins, I'm losing at max a ticket here.
I think we need a gambling theory lesson here.
Yeah, kids, if you're listening to this at home, don't gamble.
Oh, don't gamble.
I say I've got pretty good odds here. I think.
Yeah, criminal odds.
Uh,
All right. Next
all
topic.
right, next topic. Metagame, the metagame. Pauper, we had a Pauper Classic daily with Dirge 41. He has a Orzhov build that went 4-0. We'll let Chris. All right, we'll have Peter hasn't said much, so we'll let Peter read off the list.
Okay. So we have is kind of give you a heads up is kind of like the old Night Sky Mimic deck list. So for the lands, we got 22 of those, 2 Orzhov Basilica, 4 Orzhov Gilgate, 8 plains, 8 swamp, 20 creatures, 2 of them being Blind Hunters, 4 Kingpin's Pet, 2 Morning Thralls, 4 Night Sky Mimic, 4 Nidquillion, and 4 Tithe Drinker. And then for other spells, we got 2 Castigates, 2 Doomblades, 4 Edge of Divinities, 2 Journey to Knowers, 4 Pillar of the Sleepless, and 4 Unmake. And in the sideboard, we got 2 Apostles' Blessing, 3 Beckon Apparition, 2 Castigate, 3 Duress, 2 Echoing Decay, and 3 Guardians of the Guild pack.
Okay.
Why would you play 4 Ors of Gilgates and 2 Basilicas? Shouldn't you play 4 Basilicas and 2 Gilgates?
Not necessarily.
Isn't Basilica a better card in every way?
Sort of, but one of the things I've noticed with playtesting a lot of these multicolor mid-range grindy decks is people bring in land destruction against you a lot if they see the Karu lands, and that really hurts.
Yeah,
the Karu lands a lot.
But won't there be much less land destruction in sideboards?
Yeah, there's going to be less land destruction in sideboards, but with Fissure being gone. But I think in this type of meta, though, it's probably correct to run 4 Guild Gates and 2 of the Karu lands.
Yeah.
It's my theory anyway. I don't know if that's true. Maybe he just...
No, I think the Guild Gates are just better when it comes to... They're not as big as targets as a bounce land.
Yeah.
Probably as you start seeing like everyone start changing their sideboards up from having all the land destruction stuff in there. Like in this case, he'd probably switch 2 extra Guild Gates over to 2 extra Basilicas, but until then, he's probably going to play it safe this way, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I shared the link with you of Dirge 41 here. He seems like he is a very heavy black control player. If you look at all of his placing decks, they all have black.
He really likes the black.
No kidding.
Yeah. See, like he's got the 2 under the black-white listings that he's got there are Dimir posts, and then he's got further on down the list, it's more like post-based control decks and stuff like that. So he's definitely like a black control player, and I think that's probably how he got a 4-0 with this. Is he's just a good black control player.
Yeah, he knows how to play black.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I've played against this deck a couple times in dailies, and I always just completely crush them with Delver. So.
Yeah.
Pillar of the Sleepless.
That card is awesome.
Pauper dailies too often.
Yeah.
I like that card though. It's fun.
Yeah.
A pacifism plus.
Nickel and dime, basically.
Yeah. I think Castigate is actually, if I played any Orzhov deck, I would immediately include 4 Castigates.
For the casting cost, it's really good.
Pretty good card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, hey, that's a nice counterspell. Guess what? It's gone.
Oh, forever.
Exiled. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think what really, like I was talking to Dan earlier, but I think what really puts this deck over the top compared to the original Mimic deck, the original Night Sky Mimic deck, is the fact that we're seeing for eight extort cards in here. I think extort really takes this deck to the next level and just really pushes it over the hill. You know, really makes it better almost. So
what was cut for the extort cards? More Blind Hunters and Morning Thralls and something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks better.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the extort really accompanies this deck well. I mean, it just you can stay alive longer. And I've played extort. I've my friend Shane. He is notorious with the extort decks. He loves playing extort decks, and let me tell you, it's playing against extort is god awful annoying. Oh my god, it's like I've played him with my Delver list and his extort list, and he doesn't even use the Night Sky Mimic. His version is just straight up extort. Like the whole deck is extort,
Yeah.
and winning and losing again. If you beat him, and if he beats you with the deck, it's aggravating to win or lose. You just end up being just aggravated the whole time. So after you win, it doesn't even feel like it was worth it being that frustrated and pissed off. It's like I won, but God.
Uh, where do you find the use for echoing decay in today's metagame?
Fairies.
Huh?
Cyborg.
Fairies. It's
Yeah,
really,
there's
it's
like
really
probably
good
fairies.
against Delver. Echoing Decay is really good against Delver. 'Cause, you're thinking
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've done it a million times where I'm like, okay, well I have 2 spell stutters on board, so I can spell stutters Chittering Rats or whatever, and so I'll try and do that, and then he Echoing Decays my spell stutter, and now he, like, I don't know, 4 for 1 to me there. So
Ouch.
it's like,
All right.
it's completely devastating. And then it can also just like randomly get Spire Golems and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because I cut it after Storm was the Great Shot Storm decks were banned, and I've never missed it since then.
yeah,
It has its uses. I mean, there's enough decks out there that run multiples of one creature. Like my favorite play, my still
you're cutting out. I don't hear anything.
have an error again.
Yeah, I got dropped.
Oh, you got dropped. Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Everyone back?
It's still recording, right?
Yeah, Dan?
Okay, I'll edit it out later. No big deal.
Is Dan still on?
Dan?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
We're good then. I'll edit that out later. That's why I'm gonna edit. But yeah, I really like the list. It's but do you guys think this is more of a flash in a pan, or do you think this deck could stick around with the bannings?
Uh,
Maybe the extort things help, but in one of the David Schaffer classic articles, there are like the things you shouldn't brew with in Pauper because they're hopeless, and Nightscape Mimic is one of them.
Yeah, yeah,
So this was a series of things, right? There is the Cloud of the Dominus deck, the blue-red one,
yeah,
and there, for all the enemy color pairings, somewhat from olden times,
mm-hmm.
have been tried so many times.
Yeah,
But the one argument for this deck is the extort.
yeah.
yeah, I mean this
That's
deck.
it.
I say like this deck is just gonna play out basically like a mono black control deck with a little bit more aggro elements. But like the aggro elements of it are just not that good, right? Nipquillian is just a horrible creature on its own.
The only time Nick Williams decent is when you throw an edge on her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and same thing with like Tithe Drinker. Tithe Drinker's a pretty bad creature on its own, as far as Pauper's concerned, anyway.
Yeah.
So like, I think this is like a tier 3 strategy, right? Maybe it'll show up every once in a while, but
Yeah. So in other
It's
words,
not going to be a top contender continuously.
no. But
yeah.
if you scroll down, like what's really interesting about this daily is how many control decks are, these control decks that are actually lose to Fissure. Like I'm looking at Making Smart Plays is 3-1 list. It's just a blue-black control list. It's not Trinket. It's just like a very grindy control deck, and he went 3-1 on this in a Fissure-dominated environment. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and then you look at like right under it, you got Puppets list, which is a mono blue control list, and with
Four main
these,
deck innocent.
yeah, 4 main deck innocent bloods. Yeah. Then you got like 2 mono blue control lists under it, and mono blue control also has a not that good of a matchup against Fissure. It can disrupt Fissure, but it's just not as fast as like the ninja version. So, yeah. Oh, we just lost Peter again. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, Skype died again. It happens. We'll just work through it. Hopefully he comes back. Who's all here yet? Dan, you still here?
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, sweet. You're gonna have a lot of editing to do, Nathan.
Oh yeah, I know. That's
Nate.
all right.
Just read your
It's
name
fine.
straight off the thing.
Yeah.
Come on,
That's
Peter.
fine.
Come on, Peter. You can do it, buddy. You can do it.
Live, Peter, live.
Live.
How do I go back to this thing? Now, like, Peter's the only person on my screen.
Oh, I can see Dan.
Hold on.
see you?
I can't see myself.
Ah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I clicked on Peter and then, like, it's just like,
Just that Peter's gone. Forget about him.
alright.
Oh, there is
There he is.
Wait, Peter? Peter?
Yep.
Peter.
Alright, sweet.
Yeah, whatever. We edit. That's no big
Hang
deal.
on.
I'm kind of wanting to jump in and learn how to use that program anyway, so that's fine.
Okay, here we go. Wait, there it is. Yes. Okay. You'll see when I eat the screen what happened there. Like, Nate and Dan, your pictures just disappeared, and Peter was the only picture that was on my screen.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah. Like I was saying, these control lists are beating through Fissure regardless.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think we're starting to see in these dailies that being that the banning's going to happen, people are starting to shy away from the deck and try something new.
Yeah.
You know, they're knowing it's going away, so why keep doing it? But I think the last daily before Fissure is officially a Fissure and or a Temper Fissure and Poster banned, you're going to see a massive daily where it wins a lot because people are going to get their last throws with the deck in before it bans. So
Yeah, the last days before the last banning
yeah.
here was like storm
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. So that's just the way it is. That just happens. But that actually kind of leads into our next topic, which is our predictions of where classic Pauper meta is going to go post banning of Fissure and Post. So let's start with Chris. What do you think's going to happen with the decks in the meta?
Alright, so typically after a banning, and I think this happened with Storm too, Delver is the #1 deck that people will go back to. Especially when you ban a very skill-intensive deck, like they banned Storm, right? Storm was pretty skill-intensive.
Yeah.
The Grape Shot and Empty the Warnings decks. So a lot of the Storm players just, they moved over to Delver because it was safe, and if you're a good player, you typically just go over to Delver. It's a safe thing to play. And I think it's probably going to happen too with the Fissure decks, but Fissure's a little bit more control-oriented, so maybe these Fissure players are just going to go over to different forms of control decks, like Teachings or Trinket or, Mono Blue Control. But but a lot of them are probably going to go over to Delver.
Yeah.
So I think, Delver's going to get a pretty big influx, which means, or Delver's going to get a pretty influx, and you need to fill the control gap.
Yeah.
So what I think is you're going to see a new deck rising, and that's probably going to be some form of blue-black control. It just seems to work the best in a creature-dominated environment.
Yeah.
Whether that's Trinket or Teachings or, just a straight-up value blue-black control deck. Don't really know yet.
Yeah.
I think, with all the edict effects coming in, you're probably going to see a big decline in Delver Fiend and Hexproof decks, too.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, it's. I think Delver. Yeah, I'll have to agree. I'll agree with that. I kind of agree with that, but Peter.
I think we're just pretty square on. You're gonna have those people that are gonna move to shift over to Delver because it is the safe deck to go to, especially if you are a skilled player. Otherwise, we fall control because we're also losing Izzipos and stuff. So
Yeah.
you're gonna see a couple more of those aggro decks show up more too. And like you said, you're gonna find that one. People are gonna be brewing until they find the one new control deck that's that can grind you out control deck, kind of that fills the void that Cloud Post had.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Dan?
I agree with us here, not so much about but I went on Pure today from Dr. Anime that hey, you banned Po. Oh, the meta will be filled with black complex tank. So
Is Dan
I
breaking
think
up for anybody else?
Dan, you're cutting out.
Yeah.
Dan, you're cutting out.
what did you hear?
Pretty much nothing.
Yeah. It's like every
Okay.
other word.
So first, I agree. We have talked about that other stuff that we and read a comment from Dr. Anime on Pure M that he was. Do you hear?
You cutting out every other word.
Yeah.
No. Should we try to reconnect?
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, we could.
Holy crap.
Peter, why don't you grab the call this time, see if it works. Okay? You call everyone back.
I don't have my friends listed. Can one of you guys add them quick?
Do I have to
Yeah.
add him?
Yeah.
Okay. Dan Horning. There. I got it. Come on, Dan. Come on, Dan. It's the recording, right?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
Good.
Sorry. What the fuck just happened there?
What? Really?
Didn't seem to work. At least I don't think it worked. Call. I wonder if I can
I
call.
need to go and purchase an Xfire account now, too.
Hang on. X. B. Why don't I try hosting the call?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I got you too.
I
think.
got you.
And do we have Dan?
Hello.
Alright, here
Yes,
we
we
go.
do.
I'm hosting the call now.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
How's everybody?
Oh yeah, you're much better now, Dan.
Great. Okay.
Repeat
I
everything you
have,
just said.
No, I will say something else instead. Because before I started this, we started recording, I talked to a Pauper grinder who wants to remain anonymous, but he made some statements here. I also have Deluxecoif online here, on Magic Online, telling me things about the new metagame. But first, the grinder, that I cannot name. But it's a guy I respect, he didn't want his name to be outed. He says the following. He thinks the format is not as wide open as people think, that people will go crazy, but it's not at all as wide open as people think. He thinks Delver and Affinity will be the big winners of the first weeks.
Yeah.
And he mentions an interesting Infect deck with Corpse Cur and Blight Widow. So an Infect control build that I have not seen. And that's pretty much the content of it. Also, directly from Deluxecoif here, I asked him, what do you think the new metagame will contain? And he answers, everything. He says, teachings, blue-black teachings will be the new control deck, and making smart plays list that we mentioned from the daily. Goblins will rise, and Shafavafa's kitty build will grow in popularity.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. That's actually a really good control deck too.
Yeah, it is.
So that's it from Magic Online, reporting as it
Okay.
happens.
Yeah.
Dan, our man in the field.
What? Yeah.
Back to you, Nate.
Basically. All right, back to me.
Grinder kid.
I agree with most what everyone is saying here, but I'm gonna be
Oh no, now Nate's
the
cutting out.
Oh, you're breaking
one and say that. What? Seriously? No, I'm cutting.
No,
out?
no, no, you're fine
How
now.
bad?
You're fine now.
I feel. I guess I'm gonna be the optimistic one here. I agree with most everything you guys are saying, but I feel that regardless of how bad the Urzas are going to be, people are still gonna try it. And if I've seen anything today, it's already proving that the Rebels deck actually
Someone
is.
got disconnected.
Yeah, no, it sounded like you got disconnected, but Nate, Nate.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh, Nate.
Okay. Anyway, for most post players who really want to play a lot of a deck with lots and lots of mana, Urza is the next logical step, and I really feel that some people are going to go out on a limb and think outside the box and try something new. So I'm kind of interested to see what happens with that. That and the Magic player who's been playing this game for almost 20 years feels that I feel the same way. It's like I want to see Urzas come back. I want to see someone really do something with Urzas. So it's a card that I think hasn't fully been explored. I think more can happen with with those cards. It's just a matter of somebody doing it. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
See, like my problem with that is Delver's going to keep a lot of these junk decks in check, right? All these people like brewing with Urza's lands and stuff. Like Delver's just going to say,
Yeah.
"Nah, you can't do that. I'm sorry." You know,
Yeah,
Delver
Ninja.
says no. Delver says no. Ninja says no.
Delver says no.
Spike
But I mean,
Wolf
yeah,
says
it's
no.
just like I said. Like, I'm in some ways like the way
Holy.
Chris Plummer was. I'm always the optimistic when a banning happens to see something new. But yeah, I completely forgot about Infect. I think Infect, being that the meta might slow down a little bit, has a chance that an Infect that could sneak back into the mix. I mean, it remains to be seen, but there might be a small chance that an Infect deck might creep up there and do something. So it's something to look out for.
Corpse Curry is actually quite a problem for control decks.
Yeah.
It wasn't used that much in the old Infect builds, but it is really
Yeah.
a problem.
So,
Corpse.
it remains to be seen. It should be interesting to see. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens from here on out after October bannings. So
Yeah, it will be
we'll
so
see
much
what
fun.
happens. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's just it. But anything else
Chris,
anyone wants to say?
Chris, when is the first daily after the downtown usually?
The Wednesday daily. I think it's at like 10:30. 10:30 a.m. So hold on a
Much
sec.
later than the downtime is that?
Hold. Let me check the calendar here. Luckily, it's almost already up. Uh, so Wednesday we have maintenance begins at 8 a.m. and it's scheduled to be back online by 10 a.m. However, the first Pauper daily is at 12:30 p.m. So 4.5 hours after maintenance begins is when the first Pauper daily happens.
Well, I'll try to play that. That will be interesting.
What are you taking?
Trinket.
Of course you're taking Trinket.
Yeah.
What am I thinking? Of
Oh.
course you're taking Trinket. I'm probably gonna take a Mono Blue Control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue control.
I like the deck.
Alright.
I've always liked the deck. I
Yeah.
just didn't like the Fissure matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, most people didn't like the Fissure matchup, so that's why it's getting banned.
Yep.
Next we have Heroes of the Web, and being that my reading sucks, apparently, we're gonna let Chris do Heroes of the Web.
What?
You
All right,
do
here's the
Go for it.
web segment of our show, where we discuss all the interesting creatures that inhabit the internet. It doesn't have to be Magic the Gathering related, but it helps if it is. And today's Heroes of the Web is Carador from Theros. I don't know what that is. Nate, you can take that over. I haven't clicked on this link yet.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna read it. I guess so. Just hang with me here. Cardor. It's an EDH deck. Cardor. It's called Cardor from Theros. Let's see here. This is what the first page, the written thing. So I'm building an EDH deck for Cardor Ghost Chieftain right now. By the way, awesome general to play around with in EDH. And I was bored, so I looked at his little bio on the fold out from the old Commander pre-con he was in, and it's read as this: once a high chief of the Neshin Centaurs, Cardor was slain in a great battle. Now Cardor haunts the valleys of his birth, an embittered king of the realm and what realm
Realm of Wraiths and Shades.
Wraiths and Shades. He gathers ghostly minions for an assault on the rival war chief who deposed him. Neshin Centaurs. Now we've seen the future sight card called Neshin Centaur and Neshin Courser, a vanilla centaur that wasn't special. Now we know there are centaurs on Theros.
Duh.
Duh. Well, I think this was written before the spoiler, but there are on a lot of other planes as well, such as Ravnica. Recently, though, we got spoilers of Theros. Green creature called Neshinasp, a large snake from the plane. Is this enough of a connection to say that Cardor could be from Theros, or perhaps a member of the Erebos realm, who escaped the haunts the living areas of the plane? Is there any chance we may see him get a reference to him during this block? Yeah, this article kind of goes on. It's basically everyone really goes into the mythos of the new block, which is why I kind of chose it, just because we're Theros is coming out. But later on, it gets to the point where people are just being ridiculous.
Your classic push the glasses up. Now you're
Yeah.
wrong because you see, and then the old good old fashioned shit fight back and forth.
Yeah, and the fight, and it all comes down to a big nerd argument about something that is completely fake in general, and it's just a game. But yeah, it's like I said, it was just that I don't know how Chris finds these things when he was doing the Heroes of the Web. I'm finding it really hard, so I apologize if a lot of this is kind of dry.
Okay, I think I have figured this out. Nessian Courser, which is a reference to Nessus, a centaur from Greek mythology, was presumably flavored in such that future sight to tease at the future possibility of Greek or Greco-Roman themed block. But of course this was long before any was planned. Alright, I'm done.
You can't finish that. I don't blame you, sir. That entire post was going downhill very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, it was. You could tell it was. It's how many pages is it here? It's 4 pages.
It's 4 pages. But it's a lot funnier if you read it in a nerd voice.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
I can have a try.
Yeah.
Apparently, I missed the memo where they declared Theros to be partly inspired by Monty Python. What?
Oh dear.
But that's
And
I
Bold
like
Brew
Mon-
Witch makes it into this somehow.
How does Bog Brew Witch make it into this argument?
I'm not sure.
It's a core set card. It doesn't. What? No.
Now people are mentioning rabbits and badgers, and wow, what? How do? I don't get it.
Bog Brew Witch. What page is Bog Brew Witch referenced on? That's ridiculous. Is that the first page?
No, it's
Second
on the
page, I
third
think.
page. It
Third
has
page.
something to do with flavor, and that's why Bogbrew Witch works with a newt and not a thrall. And that's why Delbro Seeker turns into fly and not a spider. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna cut it off right there. We're just gonna be done
Yes.
with this. um, we don't really have much comments and feedback that I've seen so far here. I didn't see anything. Nothing on. I checked out on the forums. I've checked on email. Other than correspondence back with Will House sending some stuff back and forth, and with Dan, of course, we had on today. Um, really haven't. Yeah, so it's been pretty silent. I think there's good cause for it though, being that Theros is coming out and nobody really knows what to expect right now. I think that's fair to say. But
It's the time of waiting.
yeah, it is pretty much time of waiting. So there's not a lot of news coming out right now. So it's content's a little bit more of a lot of speculation. Basically, though, there is one thing, and that's kind of my own little observation. Is well, we said we were gonna wait on the brew of the month until we had the full set of Theros. We have the full set of Theros now. So I kind of want to leave this up until next week Theros comes out. I'd like to see what the listeners want us to brew this month. So just kind of get your feedback out there, comments. Let us know what you wanna brew for a brew of the month this week or this coming month, so we can get back on that because it seems like everyone wants to do that or likes hearing the brew of the month. I would prefer a standard brew right now because Theros is just coming out, and it seems like standard Pauper shaking up the metagame on standard Pauper is going to be pretty interesting, more than the classic side. So,
Well, yeah, but we've got the classic side banning Fissure, which
Yes, we do.
opens up the control window. So
yes, it does. So we have that too. So
we could
just,
argue for brewing classic here.
yeah, we could. So just listener, if you're a listener out there and you have an idea, pass it on to us. I mean, you got Chris and you got Chris, me, and Peter, and we're online. You can always catch us online or whatever. Check us out there or let us know what you want to do. But with that, anyone have anything else to say?
Good.
Okay.
Very good.
I want to thank Dan for being a guest this week. We have some guest spots in the future that we want to fill up because apparently, who was it? Chris said last week. Who was it? One of our. I can't remember. Somebody. I know. I'll probably. I don't know. This is kind of tired right now. But we have somebody that wanted one of our past people didn't really Grant. That's who it was. Grant Champion wanted
Right.
it does not like the banning of
Oh yeah.
Post and Fissure. So we're gonna try getting Grant on, and we're gonna let him spew his hatred for the bannings. So
Sweet.
Grant, if you're listening to this, give me get a hold of us or somehow, so you can go on a rant. We'll let you rant. We'll give him his. We'll have a special guest spot instead of 5 minutes of hate with Mike or whatever. We'll have like 5 minutes of hate with Grant. Just let Grant go off.
God.
So, but you can reach us through Twitter. You can reach us through MTGO, through the Pauper to the People at gmail.com. How can they get a hold of you, Chris?
I am at Seaweaver8518 on Twitter or Seaweaver on MTGO.
Okay. Peter, how can I get a hold of you?
On MTGO, I'm Midnight03.
And no Twitter account yet, huh?
Nope.
How can I get a
Get
hold
with
of
the
you, Dan?
times.
First, thanks for having me again. It's always really fun to be on the show.
No
People can
problem.
reach me at Magic Gath Strat on Twitter or on Magic Gathering Strat on YouTube, Pure MTGO. I also run this little website called mtgostrat.com where I sort of look at the site 100 times a day, so I can easily be found there.
Okay. You can find me on Twitter at NAYunkin and Yukon at MTGO. You can always hit me up on Pauper to the People's email address, being that I spend a lot more time paying attention to our forums now than I used to, because I have to, because the boss said so. Um,
Aw, poor Nate.
but no, I'm just kidding. Just picking on Chris a little bit there. I know I'll hear about it. But so I guess that's a show. See you guys all next week.